Hello again, everybody. Scott Casber for TDR TV, InternetWrestle.com. Our friends at Punch Drunk Gamer. This interview brought to you by XtremeCouture.tv and XCAP, breaking all the rules the natural's way. Let's join up with Xtreme Couture's Randy Couture. Randy, how are you?
I'm doing great.
You're a week away from your scheduled elk hunt. Are you getting excited? Is your bow finger a little itchy?
I'm getting it in shape for sure. I got the DXT out and got the target out. Been doing a little warm up, and we'll be ready to go by next week for sure.
I gotta believe you're looking for a big one for sure. But sometimes it's the hunt. It's not just the animal that you may harvest at the end of the hunt or sometime during that week. Sometimes it's just communing with nature. You love it, don't you?
It's absolutely the hunt. To be honest, I haven't been that successful. I've been on a few TV shows and had some great success with those situations. They're a little more professional than I normally am by myself. So next week is by myself up in the mountains by my property with my buddy Brad Anderson, and we're going to be chasing the elk around with our bows.
I'm sure you'll have a good time. Well, let's get down to it, partner. The best thing about fight night is that it's over. Number one, you got to stand up for mixed martial arts and for the sport of wrestling to defend what I call your modern-day heritage and what you've done. James Toney was a little lippy, had his gums a-flapping, and you did exactly as you said you would do. You climbed that mountain. You shot in on something I hadn't seen in 20-plus years from you, a low single. Where did it come from? How long has it been since you've had a good shot at a low single in a mixed martial arts event?
Well, it's been a long time since I pulled the old low single out, and obviously as an alumni of Oklahoma State, being part of the program and having John Smith as my coach my senior year in college, Low Smith was kind of part of our repertoire there. But it's been a dang long time. I graduated from college in '92, so it's been a dang long time. And I started shooting a low single in training with my striking coaches, and it was working. And they were, the first time I hit it on my boxing coach, he was like, "Where did you go?" It was like there's not a lot of counters, with a double or single, you can run into a knee or run into an uppercut or something like that if the guy times it right. I didn't know if James would have that ability or not, but he's certainly a very good striker. So the low single seemed like a good idea to me. And I knew James wouldn't have the wrestling or grappling ability to kind of step out of that technique, which is why it doesn't work well in mixed martial arts most of the time. So I pulled it out and I worked a lot on it in camp and really started to feel comfortable and confident with it again and using it against a guy like James.
When you think about the low single in wrestling, it's a go-to move for a lot of guys, but it has to be taught and taught correctly, and you have to be willing to adjust your body, your position, and be ready to go in on that attack, and you've got to commit to it. Who taught you, and when do you think you really got good at a low single? Because you're right, your boxing coach was right. Where did you go?
I think all of us studied John. John, being a six-time world champion, two of those championships in the Olympic Games. He kind of made that a very, very popular technique. And certainly as an athlete rolling as a freshman and a 190-pounder, it's a rare thing for a guy my size to be able to even shoot a low single. So it wasn't something I used a lot in college, but it was certainly something that I learned. And I was teammates with Pat, who had a very, very good low single as well, Pat Smith. And so something I was around and accustomed to and had learned, and learned several different finishes. And I think that's the key in wrestling if you're going to shoot a low single is having options, depending on how your opponent reacts, being able to finish in a couple of different ways. And John was certainly a master at that. The nice thing about wrestling is the guy's wearing shoes. It gives you a grip. In mixed martial arts, guys are barefoot. It's real easy for them to slip out and step out of a low single because you don't have that shoe to grip and hang on to. So that was one of my concerns in shooting in mixed martial arts. And I got a big smile on my face when I walked up in that cage and looked across and saw James Toney wearing those neoprene footies that he was wearing from Hayabusa. So I knew I'd have something to grip if I shot that low single.
Oh, you nailed it, and you hung on, and then you climbed that mountain and proceeded to do what you've done your entire career, and that's that ground and pound you made famous. Did it give you any satisfaction when your fist would connect with his face at all?
I think it was more satisfaction hearing him kind of gurgle and struggle from that position. He was having trouble breathing with me sitting on his chest, and then obviously to have him tap was good. It was a great night.
It absolutely was. Well, let's move on from the obvious to the not quite so obvious. Xtreme Couture is expanding. RC, you're doubling the size of the gym. Val's done a great job there and helping organize Scott and all the rest of your cast and crew. But when you hired Brian Keck, you said, I want to rededicate what we do to wrestling. I want to get bigger. And by God, if that hasn't come true, Brian Keck, your wrestling coach and instructor there, talk to us about the expansion of Xtreme Couture.
Well, the expansion is going great. The new side of the gym is just about finished. We're going to do a soft open for that here on the 25th of September. We're adding another full cage, and have to take a regulation size cage to that side, another full mat space. We moved the corporate offices into the new side. We're giving a bigger space to Select Care, which is our athletic trainers and rehab facility that we work closely with and do a great job with us. Most of the guys in mixed martial arts have never been exposed to a training room, having a guy that can ice you, tape you, help you evaluate, injuries or nagging injuries and deal with those on a regular basis. So it's been nice to have Select Care in Xtreme Couture now for over a year. They do a great job for us. And then Jim Porter, a long-time wrestling fan and a guy who's done a lot of volunteer work with USA Wrestling, is the one who made that connection for me and got us hooked up there. So it's been great to have them in there. I think, creating a little bit of separation, oddly enough, between the professional fighters and our regular students is going to be very, very good for business. You got a bunch of knucklehead fighters running around in there, half naked half the time, and I think that's a little putting off for the average member. They're a little intimidated by that. So I think creating that space and a little separation there is going to kind of overcome the stigma that we're just a fight gym, and create a little more comfortable environment for the average guy that wants to come in and use mixed martial arts as their way to get in shape.
And it is such a unique environment. We're talking about Xtreme Couture Las Vegas. It's such a unique environment because it is a business. Make no mistake about it. This is a business, and these men are there to train. The pros are there to train, to get better, to compete, to earn a living, and that's what Xtreme Couture is all about. Now, you throw in the amateur, and the amateurs want to be around it. They want to be a part of the Xtreme Couture allure, but they want to be successful in their efforts as well. We're talking with Randy Couture. Randy, one of the things we noticed about you, and it's been talked quite a bit about your look at this last fight. It's been said, and I've been one of those that said it. You've never looked better than you did this particular fight. I got to believe one of the reasons why is XCAP. Talk to us a bit about XCAP, a product that you not only endorsed, but you were part of the founding of this company.
Well, XCAP is a program that I started, and realistically about three and a half years ago. One of my members with his son, his son's 9 now, but Dr. John used to do sports nutrition and supplementation as a hobby, as a doctor, and he worked a lot with Evander Holyfield and other athletes years ago, and he started talking to me about what I was doing, and came up with a company called Biotics, and started me, on a very specific regime based on my blood chemistry, and it was remarkable the changes I felt and saw in my body chemistry and also in my energy levels and getting through workouts and being able to get the most out of my body. And John had such a good relationship with this company, Biotics, who only caters to doctors. They don't do any marketing on a public scale. They don't do any fancy packaging. They only cater to physicians. They allowed us to private label 15 of their products, and that was where XCAP was born. And so I've been using the XCAP program now, through Biotics and then now with XCAP for over 3 years now. And it's, I think, the most unique and interesting stuff that I've ever come across in the supplement lines.
In my conversations with John, we talk about what you eat and what people should eat and what you put into your body. You're very conscious about this. It's not something that happens accidentally.
Well, absolutely. I think, and that's the unique thing about the blood test is that not only can he tell you what's going on with your hormone levels and what supplements you should be taking, but he can make dietary changes as well. We're using this new Zyto machine that analyzes your systems as well on all the supplements and the foods. We can find food allergies. We can find digestive issues. We can find all kinds of stuff through this program. that will make you feel better, give you more energy, get you better responses and better recovery from your workouts. It's a pretty remarkable program.
Well, John is teaching us as well as the American public, and we encourage you to get on the XCAP website. I think you will be pleasantly surprised at what you're able to learn. There's a brand new commercial out there, which is outstanding. And by the way, the end of the commercial, I'm going to go ahead and give it away. You talk about Father Time. People call you, Joe Rogan calls you Father Time. You're staring Father Time in the face. And when you look at the film that you just accomplished, that hit my motion picture theaters in the earlier in the month of August, you looked awesome, dude. I mean, I'm not just sucking up or kissing ass. Let me just tell you, I'm absolutely amazed at how you've been keeping up. John tells me about green leafy. He talks to me about green teas and things that you put into your body. When did you make this determination that you had to watch what you're putting into your body in a very conscious effort to be as healthy as you possibly can be? When did that start for you?
Well, the process started for me initially in 2005. I got asked to come down to 205 and fight Chuck Liddell. And, it was a pretty significant weight cut for me, about 20 pounds. I was walking around at that time about 225, 226, and I knew that I could make the weight, but I didn't want to do that and suffer and lose strength and lose body mass and quality muscle and all those things. So it was at that time, through work with a chiropractor that I was working with at that time, Ryan Parsons, that he helped me modify my eating habits and really change some of the things I was doing. And it was then that I started taking some greens for the first time. And then that, the greens were so remarkable, and I didn't find that I got sore from the same workouts that I've been doing for years, the sprint routines and circuit training that I'd been doing that usually made me sore for a day or two. When I was using the greens, I recovered better and I didn't get that soreness. So greens became a regular part of my life at that stage. And then I started kind of really taking a look at the supplementation and the things that I'd been doing and what was really working for me and really what was just fancy packaging and a lot of claims that maybe weren't there. And it wasn't until years later that I ran into Dr. John and kind of started the blood test and really kind of getting very scientific about the whole thing. It's worked out pretty well for me so far.
It absolutely has. What ties back to Iowa, I was a big fan initially just because of who John was and how he does what he does. But the dude knows what he's talking about, and it's obvious. We're talking with Randy, the Natural Couture. About a minute and a half left, Randy. Your son, your boy, has just absolutely exploded on the scene. It's been a slow process for those of us that know him. But on the other side of the coin, you said it publicly, he's a better wrestler than you. Are you surprised at the progress he's made in what seems to be a relatively short period of time?
Well, he's done a great job. He's in a great environment. He takes advantage of all the workout partners and all the coaches that we have at Xtreme Couture. I kind of stay out of his way. And he had a very, very good wrestling base, and now he's had a tremendous submission game to go with that. And Neil, I think, with Neil's outlook and application of wrestling in the submission sense, has been a great thing for Ryan. And I think Ryan and Neil have a great rapport and an affinity for one each other.
Neil Melanson you're talking about?
That's right. Neil Melanson's been great.
Outstanding guy. And, of course, always endorsing boxing and everything that happens within the confines of the cage, be it the octagon or any other competitive surface. It's Xtreme Couture, huge number of wins, and they will help you become a better athlete as well. Check out XCAP. Check out extremecouture.tv. I think you'll be very it chokes you up. I think you'll be very, very pleased. Randy, I appreciate the time. Good luck on the elk hunt. I'll catch up with you on the other side. I'll look forward to seeing you in October. How's that?
Thanks a lot, Scott. Appreciate it.
Always good to talk to you. Randy Couture, for all of us at TDR TV, InternetWrestle.com, and Punch Drunk Gamer. It's a special one-on-one with the natural Captain America, Randy the Natural Couture. Thanks for listening.